Howdy. Ever since I saw this thing in the exotic weapon reveal trailer, I had a sneaking suspicion that I would be able to output solid DPS. And I am proud to say that I was right. This thing kind of fries. So today I wanted to test it out in a couple scenarios and prove that it is not only better DPS than its main competitor Thunderlord, but also easier to use and more efficient overall. Let's start with how to get the thing. In order to acquire the quest, you will have to clear the Final Shape campaign in its entirety and talk to a couple vendors to receive the post-campaign quests. Once you have the Microcosm quest in your inventory by going through this process, it will ask you to complete 3 cooperative versions of campaign missions. I don't know if these are impossible to solo, but seeing as I haven't seen anything in my feed saying solo cooperative campaign, prismatic hunter, I'd imagine it's not. I personally recommend 3 people for the smoothest time playing through it, but it is possible with only 2 players, albeit a lot tighter timing on a couple of the added mechanics. As for the campaign missions themselves, they all have slight changes to mechanics that make them at the very least interesting to replay. Once you've beaten all 3 missions, you can return to the Pale Heart to claim your reward. The first scenario I wanted to test this against was Tormentors. Since this weapon is a constant beam of high aim assist, high crit damage, I figured that this thing probably cooks Tormentors. And I was right. Being able to have a consistent damage source on the Tormentors makes them a lot easier to deal with. And if you don't believe me, go test it out for yourself. I can almost guarantee that you will be impressed. The second scenario I wanted to try it in was against a machine gun for ad clear, and frankly, I don't think it outperforms a machine gun in this field. Even while having that perk that grants bonus super energy on kills, which is nice, admittedly, I don't think that it'll beat out really any other machine gun spec for ad clear in that department. Because when we have strong options like, Commemoration, the new strand machine gun from the Pale Heart, and even now that it's on Sunset, 21% Delirium, which I've been rocking, they all just outclass it. Briefly, I wanted to mention one of the weapon's exotic perks that allows it to do bonus damage to shields. I first wanted to state that I find it stupid that it doesn't intrinsically have anti-barrier when this perk seems perfect for it, but regardless of that, I was wondering if this trait allowed it to do bonus damage to subjugators. If you have been paying close attention while fighting subjugators, you may have noticed that strand weapons seemingly do bonus damage to the strand ones, and likewise, the stasis ones seem to take bonus damage from stasis damage sources. With this info in mind, I was curious if this counted as either just a cool mechanic separate from everything else in the game, or as a shield, in which case Microcosm would swag out on these guys. During my testing, I found out that it comes out to roughly a 50% damage buff on these guys, so yes, the strand and stasis ones do count as shields. It is 50% damage buff on boss subjugators, since I only tested on the guys inside of the Dual Destiny mission. It may do bonus damage to high value targets on the Pale Heart, or subjugators in the campaign mission. But yeah, I just thought that interaction was super cool, and if there's ever a subjugator dungeon boss or raid boss, really just any subjugator boss, Microcosm is probably going to be the go-to option. As for the part that a lot of you are probably here for, how does it compare to Thunderlord? Well, I took the time to head over to one of the community's favorite testing dummies, Greg, perhaps better known as Frizzy the Insatiable. I'm going to let these 2 clips play out so you can see what a DPS phase would look like comparatively between the 2. Before I get any angry comments on this video about what I was using for DPS, yes, I ran Cenotaph for Microcosm since T-Lord can auto-reload with its catalyst. I figured it was only fair, which brings up another arguing point about how this thing doesn't even have a catalyst yet, but that's for another segment. Okay, enough talking, here are the clips. Wait, what? Why is Thunderlord doing so much? Oh, it's Arc Surge week when I film this. And on top of that, I did also have double surges on for Thunderlord, and I didn't for Microcosm. So doing that math, it comes out to about 1.3 million, which is still pretty solid compared to Microcosm, but it is still 200k underneath, which means Microcosm is just better regardless. Also, while using Thunderlord and Dual Destiny to get some numbers to test, it just does not feel good to use in boss encounters that you aren't standing still in a well. If you have to move around, that weapon is so clunky and feels like a movement penalty, and with the handling, by the time that I am unscoped to try and move around to deal with the ads around me, I'm dead 5 times over. In terms of ease of use, Microcosm wins. In terms of base damage, Microcosm wins. In terms of multiple scenarios that it can be useful in, Microcosm wins again. Overall, I just think T-Lord has been power crept, and it was already overrated for a long time. However, T-Lord does still outdamage a lot of linears. If you want to see a damage testing video on this, I will link Llama's video in the description. It's a really good video, and it just shows how far we've come in the meta from Season of the Lost, where linears were meta. It's crazy. Yeah, I'll link that in the description. Alright, you made it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed, a subscribe and a like, they really help out, go a long way. If you could send this video to a Thunderlord Coper who, for some reason, is living in Season of the Plunder, that would be awesome. Just get this to them, show them, hey, dude, there's better options out there. And if they're complaining, like, oh, Thunderlord is so easy to get, bro, you're playing a looter shooter. You shoot to get new loot, new better loot, to shoot more. So why are you not doing that? Yeah, if you're wondering about the title of the video, I said Thunderlord 2 is on par with Shrek 2 because Shrek 2 took everything the original did good and did it better. So, yeah. Yep, subscribe, share, like, bye, see you soon.